Alright, well, hello and welcome to Spring 2021. My name is Chad Evers, and if you're watching this video, I'm probably going to be the instructor for your course. Alright, so couple of things right off the bat. Like I said, my name is Chad. You're totally fine to call me Chad. That's okay with me. If you're taking one of my in-person classes, I put this video up there just in case somebody missed the first day. But if you're going to see me in person, you probably don't want to watch this whole video because I'm going to tell you all the same stuff about me in the classroom. But if not, if you're in one of my online classes and you don't know me, this is kind of my standard introduction that I give everybody. So if you're in my online class but you know me and you remember all my introductory stuff, also totally fine if you skip this one. But anyways, spring 2021, I am teaching at FGCU. I'm also teaching over at FSW. At FSW, I'm teaching 2 online sections of Introduction to Environmental Science, and I'm teaching a hybrid section of BSc 1051C, Environmental Biology of Southwest Florida Environment. So it's my field trip class over there. And then at FGCU this semester, I am teaching environmental policy, and I'll be seeing you guys in class. I'm doing Environmental Biology of Southwest Florida Environment, so it's going to be my field trip class on Friday afternoons. And so I will see you guys in person, and Introduction to Environmental Science is going to be an online class, so you guys should be watching the video, and I imagine most of you are freshmen who don't know me. Other classes I'm teaching over at FGCU this semester. I'm teaching a Issues in Science and Technology class about how to survive the end of the world, and it's not really about zombies, it's actually more about kind of practical everyday stuff, but it's got a fun title. I am teaching a section of colloquium, and I'm also teaching an honors reading class. And so if you are watching this video, you're probably in one of all those classes that I'm teaching this semester. And so if you send me a message and I don't get back to you right away, I'm not ignoring you because I'm probably teaching one of all of those classes. So some stuff about me. So again, I'm a full-time FGCU employee. This is my 5th year at FGCU. No, sorry, this is my 6th year at FGCU and my 11th year adjuncting over at FSW. So I've been teaching higher education for 11 years now. And if you need to get in touch with me, I do have a phone number at FGCU. That's my office number. It's 239-745-4418, and I'll actually put it down here at the bottom of this message. You can also email me at cevers@fgcu.edu if you are one of my FGCU students, or cevers@fsw.edu or if you're one of my Florida Southwestern students. But the Canvas Messenger is the best way to send me a message, because if you send me an email, it gets mixed in with all the other nonsense that the school sends out. But if you send me a Canvas message, it gets sorted right in so I know which class it is and all that. My office at FGCU is Mod 2, room 23, and so that's all the way down by Parking Garage 2. But if you are not comfortable meeting in person, I'm more than happy to set up a Zoom meeting. I'll have some Zoom office hours this semester, and if you want to meet somewhere else, if you want to meet outside, more than happy to do so. If you're one of my FSW students, I don't have an office over there, but I'm more than happy to meet you on campus or set up a Zoom meeting for you as well. If you guys want to talk on the phone, I will have a phone call with you. If you want to talk on the phone when I'm not in my office, I will give you my cell phone number. So I am more than happy to meet with you guys this semester, especially if you're in one of my virtual sections. Just know that I'm accessible and I want to be there for you guys. All right. So, just kind of some fun stuff about who I am and, what I'm all about, because I'm going to make you guys introduce yourselves. You're going to have to make your own videos. So, who am I? Like I said, my name's Chad, and you guys don't have to call me Dr. Evers because I don't have my doctorate degree yet. I just turned in chapter 2 of my dissertation, and I'll probably get some feedback, and I'll cry when I get that feedback. But I probably have about a year left before I finish my doctorate degree. And other than that, so you just call me Chad or Professor Evers, whichever you prefer. Either one is fine. As far as things I like to do, I like hanging out with my wife. People always ask me, they're like, "Oh, I have an advisor, and she's got the same last name as you. Are you guys related?" Yes, she's my wife. So Jessica Evers is an advisor for the College of Arts and Sciences. Um, we like to go hiking and camping and things like that, or I do anyway. I just drag her with me. Usually go to Comic-Con every year, and we dress up, and so, big nerds too. But we didn't get to go last year because of COVID, so it ruined everybody's everything. Originally, I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. TV shows made popular, or the TV show The Office made the city popular. I don't think too many people heard about it before that. Um, but yeah, I grew up in Scranton. I lived there for 18 years, and I actually wasn't watching a whole lot of TV when the TV show The Office was on, and I told somebody when I was in graduate school that I was from Scranton, and this girl like totally freaked out, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Have you watched The Office?" And I'm like, "No, like I just sort of heard about it, but then like everybody else, I watched the show several times on Netflix, and it's actually kind of crazy because they did film a couple of scenes in different spots around Scranton, but there's also a lot of stuff where they filmed the outside of a building, but then all the actors are in some, stage somewhere and they're not actually inside the bar wherever they said they were supposed to be. So, yeah, I lived in Scranton for 18 years. And some fun facts about my town: it's famous for trains. We have a Steamtown National Historic Park there, and we also have some coal mines that the city is slowly sinking into. And former Vice President, now Vice President-elect Joe Biden, spent some of his childhood living in Scranton. After Scranton, I went to Florida State University for my undergraduate, and I started out in the biology program, but I got kind of frustrated with the biology program because it was really geared towards the pre-med students, and I definitely didn't want to go to school to be pre-med, and so I switched to environmental science, and once I did that, I was actually a lot happier. So I finished up my degree, environmental science from Florida State. And while I was there, like most of you guys, not independently wealthy, so I had to work my way through college. So I had a couple of different jobs. My first job there is actually started out working at a dive shop, and I gave help with scuba diving lessons. I earned my PADI Dive Master certification while I was there. And I also did guided kayak nature tours in North Florida. And so I think that's what really got me into teaching environmental science. In the early part of the 2000s, when I was in college, the economy sort of tanked and they kind of let all the employees go at one point. And so I had a job in an auto parts warehouse, so I sold car parts for about a year, and wasn't really on track with what I wanted to do as a career, but I actually learned a lot about car parts while I was there. And then one day, one of my professors was like, "Hey, I need somebody to work in my lab one day a week. If anybody's interested, let me know." And I jumped on the opportunity, and so we were doing phenotype genetics and evolutionary biology, and we used fruit flies as our study organism. And so I actually I worked there until I graduated, and then after I graduated, I was hired on full time as a laboratory manager, and so it was actually a really good opportunity for me. And then I worked there for a couple of years, and then at the point when I heard my dad tell somebody that I was a fruit fly expert as my career, I decided that it was time to move on and go to graduate school. So what I did is I packed my dog up, packed my motorcycle up into the U-Haul truck, and we drove across the country, and I ended up in San Francisco. And so I went to the University of San Francisco nights and weekends for 2 years, earned my master's degree in environmental management, and again, not independently wealthy, so I had to work my way through graduate school while I was out there. So I had a temporary job with my advisor when I got out there, so I had some money coming in, and it was we were doing wetland restoration and wetland monitoring in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it was actually this crazy thing because you would be like knee deep in mud, but like right behind you was the Golden Gate Bridge, and so just weird type of field work, but really cool experience. And then the next job I had out there is where I worked for most of my time in California. Is I actually managed a lab for UC Berkeley, where we did agricultural work where we were testing and developing reduced risk pesticides. So pesticides that are less harmful for the environment, they are less harmful for the people that have to apply them, and they leave a less harmful residue on your fruits and vegetables when they make it to you in the consumer market. And so my advice to you guys is if you buy fruits and vegetables, which you should, make sure you wash them. And even the stuff that you don't think you need to wash, like oranges, lemons, avocados, right? Those things that you peel, that does not get washed anywhere from the time it goes from the farmer's fields, where it's covered in all kinds of pesticides and who knows else, to the time it goes to the grocery store. It doesn't get washed at all because you have to peel it, so there's no need for them to wash it. But if you take my Introduction to Environmental Science class and we talk about environmental toxicology, we will learn that our skin is a porous organ. And any chemicals you get on your skin, it only takes 15 to 20 seconds for that to get into your bloodstream. And so think about the last time you peeled an orange, right? You were really rubbing your fingers all over that orange to peel it, and whatever was on it, you were rubbing right into your skin. So wash your fruits and vegetables. All right, so after I graduated, my boss was like, hey, you're overqualified to work for me. He's like, I'm not going to fire you, but I'm pushing you towards the door. And so I kind of wanted to move back to the East Coast of the United States. While I was in California, I only saw my family, I think, twice while I was out there in 2 years. So I actually found a job here in Southwest Florida with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, where we were doing water quality management for shellfish. So because clams and oysters, they are filter feeders, whatever they're filtering out of the water ends up inside their muscle tissue. And so if they're filtering harmful bacteria out, harmful algae, so like red tide is a big one down here, we monitored for those kinds of things, because so clams and oysters, they'll filter 40 to 50 gallons of water a day. And so if you've got one clam and it's been filtering nasty stuff out of the water all day, you've got a concentrated dose of 50 gallons of nasty stuff in one single bite. And then if you eat 12 of them, that's a lot of whatever was in that water that you just ate. So it was really a kind of a public health job. And so for about 6.5 years, I spent 3 or 4 days a week on a boat somewhere between St. Petersburg and the 10,000 Islands down towards the Everglades. The other portion of that job is I did inspections of food and tropical fish farms and throughout Southwest Florida, mainly to make sure that they didn't have untreated production water leaving our site, so water with fish waste and nutrients and things like that, and then also to make sure that they didn't have non-native species escaping our facilities. So those were the big things I looked out for when I did those farm inspections. All right, so the big question, right? How did I jump from doing that to teaching higher education? Well, when I first moved back to Florida, I lived in Inglewood, and if you guys don't know where Inglewood is, maybe you do, maybe you don't. There's not a whole lot to do there, and if you know where Inglewood is, you definitely know there's not a lot to do. And so I moved back in the summer, and there's definitely like less than nothing to do there in the summer. And I remember one night I jumped on my motorcycle. I'm like determined to find something to do in Inglewood. And like an hour later, I was at Walmart because I couldn't find anything. I was like, well, I guess I'll get some groceries. And I saw that one of the girls that worked there looked to be, I don't know, maybe like 21, 22. And I was like, hey, what do people do for fun in this town? And she's like, on a Friday night, Walmart, you're it. This is it. So I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do when I moved here? But Edison State College, now FSW, their Charlotte campus was out about 2 blocks from where my office was at the time. And I just walked over there and I was like, hey, maybe I could take some classes just for something to do. Maybe I'll meet some people. And so I took some classes in education, and I actually really liked it. And my education professor was like, hey, I think you would be great at, teaching, and I know they're looking for somebody to teach this environmental biology class of Southwest Florida. And so that was the fall semester of 2010. So 11 years ago, I walked into a classroom, and I was standing up in front of the classroom with a textbook and a bunch of students looking at me, and I was like, oh my gosh, they've messed up, and now I'm teaching college. And so Turns out I really liked it, and I love working with students, and I love getting to teach. And so thank you guys for being my students. So I still teach over at FSW. I'm a long-time adjunct employee over there. I think I've worked there almost as long as just about most of the employees that have been there. Um, and I got hired on full-time at Florida Gulf Coast University 6 years ago. So at FGCU, I teach for the Department of Ecology and Environmental Studies. And so I really like both schools. I like teaching at both schools. I'm just happen to be full-time at FGCU and an adjunct over at FSW. Some other things about me. I have 3 dogs, and so if you want to follow my dogs on Instagram, you can. I'll post their tag down there. Um, I like hanging out with my wife. I like going canoeing and kayaking. I really like mountain biking, and I have a 4Runner that I like to go off-roading with. So those are kind of my hobbies. Um, One of the things that I'm going to ask you guys to do is I'm going to ask you to have a video, and I want you to tell us 5 fun facts about you. So here's here's some fun facts about me, right? So I'm an Eagle Scout. I still volunteer with the Boy Scouts with my stepson. I've died twice, but I made it, so good for you guys. I have a really big collection of comic book artwork, so you could probably see some of it in the back of this video. And other than that, I really love the outdoors, so I really just like being outside. And I believe in what I teach, right? So when I'm talking about sustainability and environmental science, I'm not just up there talking about it, right? I'm doing my best to, live it in my everyday life. And one of the things I always tell my students is that, we talk about environmental science, and if you really take to heart everything that we talk about in class, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I'm a terrible person. I always say just, take a break or take a breath, right? And just relax for a second and pick one thing and focus on that one thing. And the nice thing about, working at a college, or in your case, you guys are students at a college, pick one thing and do one thing a semester and focus on that one thing. And by the end of the semester, that thing will be just, ingrained, right? So maybe it's you don't want to use plastic bags anymore. So start getting some reusable bags. And you don't have to go to the grocery store and buy 20 of them. Every time you go to the grocery store, just buy one. It's an extra $1 or $2 on your grocery bill. And after a couple of weeks, you'll have enough for your groceries. If you don't want to use plastic bottles anymore, right, really, spend that semester focusing on not using plastic bottles. So just, one thing a semester. And, if you do one thing, is the world a little bit better? Absolutely. So when I talk about sustainability and environmental science, I'm always working to be better, just like many of you probably are. But, one thing at a time. And if everybody does that, things are going to get better. All right. What else? All right. So my teaching philosophy. I want you guys to have a good time in this class, whatever class you're taking. I want you to be successful. I want you to enjoy this class. If there's anything I can do to make this class better, let me know. One of the things I always tell my students is that if you think this class sucks, feel free to tell me. Be like, hey, Chad, this class sucks. It's the worst class I've ever had. Hopefully you don't have that to say, but if you do, that's fine. But if you're going to tell me that, you have to tell me what I could do to make it better. And I promise I will take your advice to heart, and I will do my best to, make some changes. Because, again, I've been teaching for 11 years, and a lot of the things that I do that people like have come from student feedback. Students tell me, like, hey, do this. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. So if you have suggestions, I will listen. And I will tell you that I'm not so far removed from being a student that I know what it's like to have a sucky professor, because I will tell you, they exist. And if you want to, complain to me about somebody, I may just, not comment and nod my head because, I know. Other than that, if you guys are having any issues with this class or any class that you're taking and I can help, please reach out to me. The one thing where I can't help, though, is if you disappear for like 6-7 weeks at a time, and my cat just busted in the door. Anyways, where I can't help you guys is if you disappear for 6 or 7 weeks at a time, and then show up right at the end of the semester and be like, hey, can I turn this work in for partial credit, or I really need to pass this class, but I haven't done anything. I'm just gonna say sorry at that point. So don't do that. But if you're having an issue and you know something's coming up, stay in contact with me, and I will do my best to come up with a solution that works well for both of us. Um, Other than that, right, just be mindful of all the COVID procedures. So at both schools, social distancing, wear your mask. If you're at FGCU, make sure you're using the health screening app every day. I do use technology in my classroom, so if you are in an in-class assignment, feel free to bring your laptop, your cell phone, and use it for class. They're great teaching tools. Um, I used to allow food and drink in my classrooms as long as we didn't make messes or anything like that. But with COVID, we can't have food or drink in any of our classrooms anymore. One of my big rules is being respectful of your classmates. So in an online forum or in the classroom, respecting each other is probably my number one rule, because it's not always easy for people to make videos or talk or make presentations online. So just make sure you guys are respecting each other. We are a smoke-free campus. Both schools are smoke-free campus, so we cannot smoke on field trips or in the classroom. So if you're in one of my field classes or in a classroom class, we can't smoke or vape. Um, Other than that, I know the world's kind of weird. It's a weird semester again. I think I've made some positive improvements on my courses from the fall semester to the spring semester, so I hope things are a little bit smoother. But again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. I want to get to know you guys this semester. I want us to have a good time this semester, and I want you to enjoy this class, and I want you to get something out of this class. So thank you guys for being my students this semester, and I hope we have a good semester together. Thank you.